Hey guys, so just hopping on here really quick so you guys can learn a bit more about why I'm here and what this movement's about. And I'm in New Zealand currently and just wanted to get on to have this as I'm starting my year-long adventure in 2018. I'm not staying anywhere longer than 4 weeks, so anyways, let's get on with it. But my name is Colleen Gallagher, and I'm from Detroit, Michigan. So grew up in Motor City, home of Eminem. And a lot of why I've created this movement, or a lot of just who I am, is I always kind of grew up wanting to be this great Britney Spears, but then I'd be this tomboy at school. So I was kind of always going back and forth between these two worlds. A lot of my life, and it looked a lot like Allie from The Notebook. Do you guys remember her? And she had this rich lifestyle that she had, but then also it would be chasing Noah because that was her heart. And so kind of my life has been a lot like this, where I've always gone back and forth between both of them. And it's been really a challenge because I've done that for nearly just my whole life. And a lot of you, I can probably relate that, we're always trying to fit into this expectation of other people. Well, I want to tell you guys a quick story. So one day, it was a Tuesday evening. I remember it so clearly. I was going for a layup for basketball and fell down. And I couldn't breathe. I was gasping for breath. And I went to the hospital. And they told me that my thyroid was enlarged. It literally looked like I had this huge Adam apple. I have no idea how I did not notice it before. And what they said is that I would need surgery and that possibly it was cancer. So I had a surgery, and what do you know, it was cancer. So this was at 14 years old, and they told me that I'd be on medication for the rest of my life and that it looked like I'd probably need another surgery. So when this happened, when I heard that I needed another surgery, I realized that it was a very difficult point. I was still going back and forth between trying to be this normal Colleen Gallagher at school and then this cancer girl that wasn't at school. So I was always trying to go back and forth between these two worlds, which caused so much anxiety and all these things that went along with that. So 2 surgeries and tons of blood work later, I was in the hospital and there was a girl, Sally, and we were playing with the play cube. You guys know when you would go to the doctors and they moved. All of a sudden, her parents were outside of the room and her dad screamed at her mom saying, the only reason we're in this position to not be able to pay for Sally's treatments is because you're a stay-at-home mom. So my heart dropped because with the US healthcare system, this is something that's a real problem. And I look at Sally, but then look back at her parents, and Sally just sat there and her mom starts hysterically crying, saying, the only reason that I'm a stay-at-home mom is because we agreed to that. I look at Sally and we're moving the beads up and down, and she simply replied, I don't understand why we all just can't play. My heart was completely shattered. And in that moment, I created a rule or a realization in life that if you don't have money, that you can have love. And that's how I lived a lot of my life, believing that you had to have money in order for love to work. And that if you didn't have money, you could possibly die. So I don't know about you guys, but that was a really life-changing moment for me at 15 to be able to go through that. And so I went about my life for a while and it was normal. And then again, a little bit later, cancer met me again. And I was at the hospital with 2 of my friends who were going to pass. And as soon as they were going to pass, 2 of them said pretty similar things to me, where they said, Colleen, I know that you're making it and I'm not, because you're the one that has the power to change the world. And in that moment, my heart sunk. I truly had no idea what to think besides that I couldn't believe we were changing one life for another. And that's really what in my heart I thought at that moment. And from that point, I subconsciously started to carry with me that I had this greater purpose in life, but I had no idea what it was. So I didn't know it at that time, but I carried this terrifying subconscious fear that leaked out of me through anger because I got to make it over them. And there was this great purpose that I felt, but I wasn't sure how I did it or how to find this purpose and live it. So I constantly would go through life looking, why did I make it over a 4-year-old, or why did I make it over my friends who passed, and trying to find this purpose in my life. But it never really came through. So instead, what I did was go out drinking all the time, dating guys, having all these friends so that I could just place my anger onto them in the world. But I created a rule that I would never have a Facebook official relationship while I was in college because I thought money had to equal love. And since I didn't think that I had money then, I never thought that love could be real. So until one day, I fell head over heels for this guy in college, talking on and off with him for like 2 years. Haha, I know, like, what is this talking on and off again? But I was gonna go fly there, and all of a sudden he was ignoring me. And so I was super drunk one night, and I looked at my phone, and I was gonna call him, and I was going back and forth, and anyway, I just had all this anxiety. I finally pressed send. As I pressed send, the phone rang 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and he answered. I was so excited and relieved, and I hadn't talked to him in a bit. So as this happened, the call went on as this drunk me and sober him. The call ended up going, "Colleen, I never truly liked you. I only dated you because it made me feel good to be there for a girl who had cancer." My heart shattered. A girl who had cancer? So I didn't really know how to react to this, you guys. And it was a very hard thing to go through because it showed me that my belief system was true, that since I didn't have money, I couldn't have love. So if any of you had like the same pain, the same heartbreak, that's like an indescribable feeling. Yeah. And so I went through this time, and as if it wasn't enough, as soon as I graduated Michigan State University, I ended up falling madly, madly in love with this one guy. I thought he was the one. It was like my fairy tale, like everything was coming true. And what I couldn't believe even more than that is we were at New Year's Eve, like having fun, and one of his friends came up to me and they said, you're really ugly. You're like one of the ugliest girls this guy has dated. And I told the guy I was dating like the one, the guy I thought I was going to marry like this. And he ended up saying, what do you want me to do about it? And I don't know about you guys, if you've had any like astronomical pain like this, but I was like heartbroken. I was so sad because here I was making money. I had this perfect fairy tale guy, I thought, and like what could be going wrong? And here this came and it didn't fit in. But even though like most of you probably would have wanted to leave, and I truly wanted to leave, I wanted to be completely done with it, I ended up staying. And what do you know, a few months later, the fairy tale, everything ended up calling me, screaming at me, and ended it. And what I didn't know at that time is that how heartbroken, I guess, it wasn't just a heartbreak that time. It truly was my whole belief system crashing. It was no longer money could not bring me love. Like I saw that. It totally went against my belief system of seeing what happened with Sally and why I was doing my job and everything with my life. And it was just awful, you guys. I didn't even realize at that time how awful it was, but everything crashed. But I knew one thing, that even though money couldn't bring me love, it could still bring me purpose, and it could still bring me healthcare. So that if cancer ever did come back, I would always have money to pay for it. So I would like not be in the same situation that Sally's parents were. So it was perfect. I just got this new promotion. I was moving states. So as we know, I love traveling, and this was just perfect for me. So it gave me purpose. Well, all of a sudden I was going to get this $15,000 commission check, which at that time was the largest amount of money I'd ever received, ever in that time. And they told me that it was too much for me to be earning. So here I am, completely betrayed. No love, no money, no purpose, everything that doesn't make sense to me. And I was like super just heartbroken. There was like no soul left in me. I had no idea what was going on. I was like, why is this happening to me? So I ended up going home and I felt pretty empty inside. But I remembered my dream, and I had the possibility to see at that moment that I wanted to live internationally, and I always wanted to do that. So I thought I had to do it through a corporation. I didn't think I had the possibility to do it alone. I started Googling and looking around, and I saw that you could get visas really easily. And I thought having a job wouldn't be like stressful, so I wanted to English speaking. I've already been to a lot of Europe, so I figured, why don't we try Asia Pacific? And then I started looking and thought New Zealand. So I get to their immigration and saw that it was $20 to apply for their 1-year visa. What? $20? Absolutely crazy. And so as I was doing this, it was, going through my mind, what more do I have to lose? That I have no love, I have no purpose, I really don't love what I'm doing, and I know I have something greater to do. So I applied for the visa, got it within 24 hours, and then I made my plan. I planned that within 3 months of getting it, which was December of 2016, so March, I would be quitting my job and moving to New Zealand and save some money, and was going to go over to New Zealand, and it was going to be this great fairy tale because I was going to be actually following my dream. And just for me, I was going to be the star of my own fairy tale for the first time. Simply amazing, right, guys? So I planned to go there for like 5 years and live in New Zealand and like buy this beautiful home, get this great job, travel, have money, and my friends would come visit and everything like that. So what more could I truly have wanted? And I ended up getting there and got this amazing job with the #1 global leader in demand response. I was traveling all over New Zealand and Australia. It was just magical. Like truly, I was the star of what I wanted. It was everything I could have wanted. But there was one slight problem. I started reaching out to all my friends back from the States to make travel plans and catch up, but none of my friends were really reaching out or making any effort to be part of this new life I was creating. And this caused me to feel like none of my friends really cared about me, and I was lonely and felt rejected, and all these things that led to this deep subconscious huge buildup of anger, as already was angry with cancer, but now it was no one loved me, and I was just so angry no one wanted to be part of this adventure. So I was texting one of my friends, and as I was texting them to see it, they said that they couldn't talk because they were on their way to work. Well, what do you know? I was already feeling so rejected and angry and lonely that the anger just came, and I immediately just responded back, "We're no longer friends." I don't know about you guys, if you've ever done this, but I basically at that time then created a rule that was me against the world. And I was just going to have to carve my own path. And I wanted to figure out a way so that no one again would ever feel unloved or feel that they had to isolate themselves from the world again. So I never wanted this to happen to anyone, truly. And I wanted to create something so everyone had a space to just be themselves and figure out their no dream or no wonder, no visionary or anything is too much to dream into reality. So finally I was there, move around, and I get the 6-week business coach. And so I'm working with her on what I'm trying to do, and I go to this entrepreneur retreat in Fiji, and I launched this Love Out Loud movement. And I was writing my book, and I just had all these great things coming in, and it seemed like everything was just right on track to launch this great movement and have it all be so everyone could feel loved and just, have this great life. Well, what do you know? I put everything out there, like all this work, like all my ideas, my book, like entrepreneur retreat and everything, you guys. It was like just everything is at my fingertips, like truly my success. I could just see it. I felt like I could touch it. When I put it out there, nothing came back. So I was about to give up because this time it was my worst fear. I was completely heartbroken that now I didn't even think I had any purpose to make it work. I was like all alone because it was me against the world. And I was on Instagram and came across Gabby Muniz, who's an influential online businesswoman who helps people build brands, and scheduled a 1 hour strategy call with her. And as I did this strategy call, she says that she has a background in financial markets. And I'm thinking, fuck my life. Here's this girl trying to create love in the world, talking to a woman with a financial background. But you know what she said to me? She said, you know what, Colleen? I totally see what you're trying to create, and I can empower you to do this. Drop the mic, guys. Right then, it was just so clear. I could make this work. And so what happened is that reality sunk in shortly after that. And I realized that if this was really going to happen, if this Love Out Loud movement at the time was really going to go forward to change the world so that no one again ever had to feel isolated, I would have to risk it all. I would have to be all in living my truth. And this is a very scary feeling because now I knew that I was going to have to invest all my money that I had left. I didn't really have that much in savings. I was going to have to quit my job. And that would be forgoing my last safety net of my truth. And I knew that if I didn't do this, though, it wasn't my truth. And if I had any shot at making this work, any shot at it, I had to fully be all in, because otherwise it wasn't really my truth. And there'd be no way it could work out if it wasn't really my truth. So I quit my job, and here it was. This is my final shot, you guys. This is it. And I realized that it was either my fairy tale was going to come true or that I was going to lose everything while trying. So finally, 8 weeks later, the Love Girl, the Love Out Loud movement, which is now the Intoxicator movement, was born. I finally had my fairy tale come true, you guys. And I didn't need it with a guy, with friends, with corporate, or with a job, or with any hobby that wasn't true to myself. I finally created the movement where we are living all over the world, truly intoxicating the world with our truth so that we live a life with no regrets. And finally, with this movement, my 2 friends who passed from cancer, this was the purpose that they were talking about. And so, even though, you guys, I have all of these great friends now, I have this incredible movement, I've totally shifted my mindset with money and how that's manifesting in my life. I've found all this love, tribe, everything more I could have wanted. Like, truly, you guys, this is only the beginning. But what I want to really state in this, and it's something I didn't expect, even when sitting here doing this Facebook Live with you guys, is that I gained the most ultimate thing I ever could, you guys. And it truly is that I am the star of my own fairy tale. It truly is that I'm that simple. And I know that we all say this and we're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. But you guys, it's truly amazing that I am living the irresistible fairy tale with myself. And I am creating the most empowering movement for us to now all come together, to not only find our truth, but to speak it and live it, because that will bring you a life with no regrets. You guys, it's so powerful, and I finally revolutionized this modern day fairy tale for all of us out there, all of the wanderlust, all of the visionaries, all of us, the truth seekers, lovers, everything. I have finally made it come true for us, and I'm empowering you to do this too. So I thank you so much for joining me on this, you guys, and listening to this story, because until I get to meet you somewhere in the world, I'm so excited. This was our first introduction to this movement, and I can't wait to learn your truth, to empower you to live a life with no regrets. All the love till then.